Kia ora, good evening. New Zealand aluminium smelters lost an Employment Relations Authority decision earlier this week, which will see it required to pay several $1 million to workers. According to NZAS, if it accepts the decision, it will be facing millions of dollars in costs and additional costs, an added burden at a time when it's already losing millions of dollars a month. The smelter has the right to appeal the decision and is considering its position. Meanwhile, talks between the company and Meridian Energy over a power supply agreement are continuing. Southland Chamber of Commerce Chief Executive Richard Hay says the extra cost is a blow for the smelter, but should not affect future viability.
I don't think it'll have a major influence on where they are at the moment in terms of their viability. I don't think that's going to be a particularly big issue, but it certainly is an issue for any business when they get clobbered with something like that, especially when they're making a loss, the same sort of loss that the smelter is making at the moment.
Do you think this extra cost will have any impact on the negotiations that are happening with Meridian?
No, not at all. It's not relevant to what's going on with Meridian. Meridian's in its own little box and doing its own negotiations, so it won't have any influence on that, I'm quite sure.
In terms of the cost of this in the scheme of things, would you say it was a big cost or a small cost?
Well, it'd be a big cost to any business to be hit with something like this. I think in the scheme of things, though, no, it won't have a major influence in the scheme of things, but it certainly is not a help, especially at this time.
Now, given that those talks are still ongoing, how soon do you think we could see some kind of resolution around the power talks?
Well, everybody would hope that it happens tomorrow. Who would know? It doesn't seem to be any closer right now than what it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, but it doesn't seem to be any further away. It's just like at the moment all the doors are up, all the windows are closed, nobody knows what on earth is going on in that regard.
So in terms of the fact that there's been no resolution between Meridian and Tiwai, do you think that's having any economic impact for the rest of the region?
Well, it certainly is. It's been having an impact for quite some time now, and as soon as the negotiations can be settled, then people, especially businesses, will know where they stand in terms of supply, and they'll be able to get on with planning their business plans for the next financial year as well. Certainly has had a big impact and will continue until that negotiations are finished.
Do you think we are seeing more negative sentiment in Southland due to the uncertainty?
No, I don't think we're seeing any more negative uncertainty at all, as opposed to what we were seeing, say, 6 months ago. It's almost as though people have accepted the situation that they're in at the moment and are just riding it out, knowing that something's good is going to come out of it at the end. I mean, really, if it was not going to be a negotiation that was going to have the future of the smelter still intact, then I think it probably would have happened by now. So negotiate. No news is good news, really.
Accommodation providers across the country saw guest nights rise close to 7% in March, following an almost 2.5% rise the previous month. Nationally, seasonally adjusted guest nights were up 6.7%, the largest monthly increase since 2009, according to Statistics New Zealand's accommodation survey. In Southland, guest nights rose 7% on the same time a year ago, following a more than 9% rise the previous month. March's increase is attributed to great weather in early Easter and an increase in visitor arrivals. The survey records guests staying in hotels, motels, backpackers and holiday parks. 3 Southern Institute of Technology students are working to help those affected by the magnitude 7 quake, which struck in China's Sichuan province last month. The Chinese students have started a collection to raise funds for those affected. The idea came from first-year student Emil Chin, who was inspired from his own experience surviving a massive quake in 2008, which killed 87,000 people.
I was a survivor of the 2008 the devastating earthquake. I know how it feels, and the first response comes to my mind is I need to do something about it because we are Chinese and we have so many international Chinese students here. And since I came here, I think we are learning that donation is part of New Zealand culture, and we are actually learning it, and we want to bring this message back to China. It's kind of universal value, so I think we need to act that. Yeah, that's the main purpose.
So in terms of fundraising, do you have a goal in what you're hoping to be able to send back home?
We haven't thought that far further because we just think about collecting money and then we give it to the New Zealand Red Cross, and hopefully it will transfer the money back to the Chinese Red Cross, and we hope that they can do something good and make it a little bit better.
What kind of help do they need?
At this stage, we just need the money and attention from the others, from the New Zealanders, because I think the healing moment for the Kiwi and the Chinese are alike, and that science and the Chinese Chinese strong spirit is thriving.
Administration Professionals Day was celebrated in the South today with hundreds of workers taking part in the biggest luncheon of its type in New Zealand. Guest speaker at this year's event was adventurer and professional speaker Kevin Biggar, who shared his story of outrageous goals, extreme obstacles and perseverance at the Ascot Park Hotel today. 330 people enjoyed a 3-course meal courtesy of their employers. Local businesses donate money, prizes and work in kind to enable staff to attend. The lunch is organised by a group of 6 volunteers who want to do something special for Invercargill to mark what was once called Secretary's Day. Coming up after the break, why a group of Southland cyclists are being described as hardy, crazy and charitable. Welcome back. The rollout of ultra-fast broadband in Invercargill continues, with more homes in the city now able to access faster internet speeds a year after the project began. Homes in areas including Windsor, Avenel, Gladstone and Richmond can now upgrade from traditional copper wire ADSL services to the new fibre optic high-speed service. Download speeds of up to 100 megabits per second are delivered through the new infrastructure. Nationally, less than 3% of the almost 170,000 homes connected have switched to the new service. 18,000 Invercargill premises are expected to have access to a fibre optic connection by the end of 2019. It will soon be easier for aged concern Southland to help members get around with a generous donation. The organisation has been given $100,000 to purchase a new van from Invercargill businessman Lewis Crimp, a boon for Age Concern as its current vehicle is around 13 years old and was in need of replacement. President Peter Kett says the new vehicle will also have a lift to help those who need it. He says the current van will be put into retirement when a new one is purchased, something which will make a big difference as it's well used.
Well, Age Concern Southland, we pick up a lot of people, take them to the supermarkets, the ones that can't get out there and or don't drive or getting a wee bit older and they don't want to drive anymore, and take them to the supermarkets. We pick other elderly people up and bring them to our centre here on 4th Street for concerts or indoor bowls, or even for their meals that we put on during the week. So it's used quite a lot more so in the last couple of years than it has been before. So yeah, really great.
Hardy, crazy and charitable. That's the description of a group of 40 Southern cyclists who rode 223 kilometres in one day to raise funds for the South's rescue helicopter service. An early start of 6 a.m. was needed to complete the challenge, with riders setting off from Queenstown and heading to Invercargill via Mossburn today. The cyclists stopped at a number of Southland schools along the way before arriving at Westpac's Calvin Street branch late this afternoon. 3 former Southland rugby players, 3 over 60-year-olds, Westpac staff and a Masters cycling champion were among those on the ride. Funds raised will go to support the Lakes District Air Rescue Trust. Invercargill youths were racing around the city today as part of a race created to celebrate Youth Week. 12 to 24-year-olds raced around the city this afternoon as part of the legendary youth race. The race was organised by the city's Youth Council with the aim of encouraging young people to get out and about in the city. Starting at Rugby Park, the race saw teams race to earn points for their game passports, navigating the course and completing physical, team and logical challenges. A range of businesses donated vouchers and prizes for the event. And that's it from news. Stay with us. Coming up in sport, more from the Gore boxing champs. We'll leave you now with the week that was. Good night.